right. This is pretty important. It's not done trying to entrench healthcare's status as an exclusively free market good. In a short letter to a federal appeals court Monday, Trump's Justice Department asserted again its approval of a district court ruling in December that scrapped the ACA on grads widely seen as legally dubious. Because the Supreme Court upheld the ACA's individual mandate in 2012, the Texas court concluded that removing the penalty for not carrying health insurance removing the penalty for not carrying health insurance nullified not only the mandate itself, but the entire law, including the expansion of the Medicaid program, subsidies for insurance purchased on state exchanges, and popular regulations curtailing insurers' most reviled practices, like locking up patients with pre-existing conditions. Apparently in this short letter, and Trump's subsequent string of anti-Obamacare statements sparked chatter among the commentariat, aghast that Republicans would once again push the message on healthcare that was widely blamed for costing them dozens of seats in the 2018 midterms. As one GOP strategist reportedly put it to the Daily Beast, WTF is wrong with them? And this is a great point here by Natalie Scher. I humbly offer that the answer is the same as WTF has always been wrong with them. The modern GOP's guiding purpose is to serve as a conduit for the right's dream agenda, which is allergic to the merest hint of redistribution downwards. They're never going to do it. They don't want to do it. It's literally antithetic. Therefore, redistribution upwards. They put that in their tax cut. They put that in the last healthcare bill, and they're trying to make sure that this goes up to the big pharma, like healthcare companies. Like they want to send all the money to Harvard, pretty much, is where they want to send them to Aetna. Like that's who they're working for. That's who donates to their campaigns. That's who puts them there. That's who puts them in office. And it's that simple. The more that their strategy succeeds, the richer they get, and the more insulated they get from the repercussions of mass backlash. So what if they lose a few more elections? They've already hedged their bets by gerrymandering districts, suppressing votes, and stuffing courts with judges committing to concluding that, yes, the richest people in human history deserve even more than they already have. So what if people die from healthcare? So what if they riot in the streets? That's what iron gates and private security are for. Yes! This is like chef's kiss in a good way about this. This is exactly what their mindset is on this. It's so true. While it remains unclear about how far the lawsuit seeking to nullify the ACA is going to go, is why would the Trump administration even dream of trying this again? Is a question so laughably obvious, I can't believe anyone's still asking it. Here's a hint. Every time the Republican Party does anything, it's because it's presumed to benefit the richest people on earth. For any question you could possibly ask about the GOP's motivation, the answer will literally never... That answer, the one I just gave, will literally never be wrong. That's why they fall in line behind Trump and gleefully stoke white nationalism to snap up whatever votes it attracts. That's why they've used their legislative majority to ram through aggressive tax cuts. That's why they desperately push the electoral map ever rightward in hopes of bulldozing minimal dissent from the flanks of the party that somehow seem moderate by comparison. Of course, Republicans have no alternate healthcare plan. Their goal was never to build programs, but to strip them clean. Damn, that's exactly right. Natalie Scher, TV producer and writer, whose work has appeared in The Atlantic, Slate, Pacific Standard, and elsewhere. Great article on what that is the point. That is the point. Serve the richest people on earth. That simple. The people who put them there in that situation. All right. Last story of the day here. Republicans, I mean, they're going a little bit overboard on the House Intelligence Committee. They're having a bit of a freak out today as a fallout from the Mueller report continues to annoy pretty much everyone on Capitol Hill, as during a committee hearing on Thursday morning, Representative Mike Conaway demanded that Democratic Committee Chair Adam Schiff step down over Schiff's insistence that actually a lot of extremely shady stuff did go down between President Trump and his allies in the 2016 election. I mean, granted, he did sound ridiculous at some times, but the fact that he stepped down from the committee hearing, it's literally insanity. All right. We're going to play the clip for you here. This is what he said.
Will the gentleman yield?
Yield to Mr. Conaway.
Mr. Chairman, since prior to the inauguration of President Trump in January of 2017, you've been at the center of a well-orchestrated media campaign claiming, among other things, the Trump campaign colluded with the Russian government. Indeed, before the appointment of Robert Mueller as special counsel, you alleged during one of your frequent television interviews that there was, quote, more than circumstantial evidence, quote, of collusion, but that you could, quote, not go into the particulars, close quote. Your repeated public statements, which implied knowledge of classified facts supporting the collusion allegations, occurred at the same time anonymous leaks of alleged intelligence and law enforcement information were appearing in the media. These leaks were often sourced to current or former administration or intelligence officials, appeared to support the collusion allegations, and were purported to be related to ongoing investigations of President Trump and his associates. As you know, the committee has long been aware of and actively engaged in intelligence oversight activities related to Russians' malign activities. As part of our duty to oversee the actions of the intelligence community, we conducted a thorough investigation related to the 2016 Russian efforts to interfere in our elections. This investigation included a review of the allegations that the Trump campaign colluded with Russia. The committee found no evidence that President Trump or anyone associated with the Trump campaign colluded, coordinated, or conspired with the Russian government. The minority views, which you submitted, were attached to our committee's findings, and yet your views did not provide any evidence to support the claim of collusion. On March 24, 2019, the special counsel delivered his findings to the government, to the special counsel's investigation did not find that the Trump campaign or anyone associated with, conspired, or coordinated with Russia in its efforts to influence the 2016 Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. Despite these findings, you continue to proclaim to the media that there is significant evidence of collusion. You further have stated you will continue to investigate the counterintelligence issues. That is the president or people around him compromised in any way by hostile foreign power? Your willingness to continue to promote a demonstrably false narrative is alarming. The findings of the special counsel conclusively refute your past and present assertions and have exposed you as having abused your position to knowingly promote false information, having damaged the integrity of this committee and undermined the faith in the United States government and its institutions. Your actions, both past and present, are incompatible with your duty as chairman of this committee, which alone in the House of Representatives has the obligation and authority to provide effective oversight of the U.S. intelligence community. As such, we have no faith in your ability to discharge your duties in a manner consistent with your constitutional responsibility and urge your immediate resignation as chairman of the committee. Mr. Chairman, this letter is signed by all 9 members of the Republican side of the House, of the committee, and I ask unanimous consent to be entered into the record of today's hearing. I yield back.
Yeah, so that's what he had to say. Literally, you said that there may be collusion between Russia based on a mountain of evidence. Sorry, that clip is a little bit longer than it needed to be, though. Yeah, to hear that guy blustering on for too long. But yeah, he's like, yeah, you should resign. You should pretty much resign. Yeah, just because you did your job and investigated. Yeah, so Conway's attack was echoed by fellow Republican and committee member Devin Nunes, ranking member, who said that we should not be used as a platform to spread false information and bizarre conspiracies. Yeah, so Nunes, who is in the process of suing an internet cow, was caught on tape last year saying the Republican control of the House was key to protecting the president from Mueller's investigation. He also reportedly never read the probe documents he previously himself had demanded. At the same time, Conway and Nunes were having their freak out. The GOP released a letter, much of which was identical to Conway's monologue that you, unfortunately, due to my bad monitoring of this audio, had to pay all attention to. It was then again signed by 9 members of the committee, and hear the whole blah, 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 blah of this guy talking. Finally, for his part, who was on Thursdays, Adam Schiff, who was signaled out by Trump, had this to say in response.
And as you have chosen, instead of addressing the hearing, to simply attack me, consistent with the president's attacks, I do want to respond in this way. My colleagues may think it's okay that the Russians offered dirt on a Democratic candidate for president as part of what was described as the Russian government's effort to help the Trump campaign. You might think that's okay. My colleagues might think it's okay that when that was offered to the son of the president, who had a pivotal role in the campaign, that the president's son did not call the FBI. He did not adamantly refuse that foreign help. No, instead, that son said that he would love the help of the Russians. You might think it's okay that he took that meeting. You might think it's okay that Paul Manafort, the campaign chair, someone with great experience in running campaigns, also took that meeting. You might think it's okay that the president's son-in-law also took that meeting. You might think it's okay that they concealed it from the public. You might think it's okay that their only disappointment after that meeting was that the dirt they received on Hillary Clinton wasn't better. You might think that's okay. You might think it's okay that when it was discovered a year later that they lied about that meeting and said it was about adoptions. You might think it's okay that the president is reported to have helped dictate that lie. You might think that's okay. I don't. You might think it's okay that the campaign chairman of a presidential campaign would offer information about that campaign to a Russian oligarch in exchange for money or debt forgiveness. You might think that's okay. I don't. You might think it's okay that that campaign chairman offered polling data, campaign polling data to someone linked to Russian intelligence. I don't think that's okay. You might think it's okay that the president himself called on Russia to hack his opponent's emails if they were listening. You might think it's okay that...
Yeah, so that is what he goes on. He said, oh, that's okay, blah, 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 blah. If you don't think that's okay, but I don't think it's okay. I think it's immoral, I think it's unethical, I think it's unpatriotic, and yes, I think it's corrupt and evidence of collusion. But the point is, yeah, as we talked about before, there are so many other things that you could focus on that are corrupt in this administration, from the freaking emoluments clause all the way up through his entire campaign. Like, literally something happens every day you could investigate, or every other week that you could legitimately investigate. Instead, we're talking about this pipe dream evidence of collusion that Robert Mueller has already refuted. Sure, I think we should definitely see the report, but... And the fact that calling on Adam Schiff to resign for this is ridiculous, but come on. Like, I don't want to, do we have to put up this any longer? Please, 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 please. All right. Yeah, that just about does it for us today. We will see you tomorrow for the wake up. This has been Newsflash.